بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك أنت المقدم وأنت المؤخر وأنت على كل شيء قدير اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما واجعل التفرق بعده تفرقا معصوما ولا تدع فينا شقيا ولا محروما والعصر إن الإنسان في خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I do bear witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is His messenger. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's session is a little bit some kind rich and deep, and it needs an extra focus because I will be dealing with big concepts and I will be highlighting somehow a long paragraph, not just one verse. We need it because this is the nature of as I kept many times repeating the context. Okay? Last time, if you remember, we finished the concept of naskh, the abrogation. Remember? Now, and after I highlighted the concept of naskh, ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسيها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها. The abrogation, what does it mean? Linguistically, from a place to a place, the delete, the change, the graduality in steps, and we highlighted many examples. Then I told you, if you remember, we need this context, because this context is part of a bigger context today. We told you that after we highlighted the concept of nasakh as something as part of the nature of our Sharia, then we connected that to the preceded two verses. لا تقولوا راعنا. Then ما يود الذين, if you remember, that the whole point about highlighting the nasakh, it was raised somehow by a specific group from the people of the book, in specific, the Jews, because they were, criticizing Muslims about the concept of al-bada, if you remember. So, how come? Because the concept of nasakh means there is something that we deleted, or we changed, or we upgraded, but there is a changing, graduality between phase A, phase B. So one of the doubts that this group of used to be believers highlighted, so what kind of Lord your Lord is? He keeps changing his mind. Is this applicable on a God? Why it's not clear to him what he should be doing or something like that. So somehow, it was like a reply to this concept, the concept of what? Al-nasakh or al-bada. Last time. Now, today I have about 7 to 8 verses. I will read them in Arabic. I will stop. I will not highlight on the English concept. I will just read in Arabic. Then I will give a logical introduction to give you an idea about why we need this introduction after I read the verses very quickly now. Then I will come to read the verses in English and try to explain the bigger context. Now, let me just put you in the larger context and the big historical context of that. Can anyone ask this Riyad, mashallah, to stop running in front of me? Jazakumullah khair. Brother, can you ask her to step? I lose my concentration completely, please. Jazakallah khair. I'm sorry, I'm a very visual person. I can't focus. Jazakallah khair. By the way, on the theater, she can do it in the theater. That's very well. Just not come here. Jazakallah khair. Okay, let's read the verses very quickly. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تقولوا راعنا وقولوا انظرنا واسمعوا وللكافرين عذاب أليم ما يود الذين كفروا من أهل الكتاب ولا المشركين أن ينزل عليكم من خير من ربكم والله يختص برحمته من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم. ما ننسخ من آية أو ننسها نأتي بخير منها أو مثلها ألم تعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Finish last time. Now ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض وما لكم من دون الله من ولي ولا نصير. Everything is up to Allah. قال أم تريدون أن تسألوا رسولكم كما سئل موسى من قبل ومن يتبدل الكفر بالإيمان فقد ضل سواء السبيل ود كثير من أهل الكتاب لو يردونكم من بعد إيمانكم كفارا حسدا من عند أنفسهم من بعد ما تبين لهم الحق فاعفوا واصفحوا حتى يأتي الله بأمره إن الله على كل شيء قدير وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة وما تقدموا لأنفسكم من خير تجدوه عند الله إن الله بما تعملون بصير وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى قل هاتوا برهانكم إن كنتم صادقين بلى من أسلم وجهه لله وهو محسن فله أجره عند ربه ولا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون وقالت اليهود ليست النصارى على شيء وقالت النصارى ليست اليهود على شيء وهم يتلون الكتاب كذلك قال الذين لا يعلمون مثل قولهم فالله يحكم بينهم يوم القيامة فيما كانوا فيه يختلفون. All of these verses are connected together. Okay? Now I will give you a main title from my point of view for this group of verses before reading them in English. In my understanding, we will be highlighting the claims of the four main groups on earth, which every one of them claims that they deserve the status of leadership for humanity. Jews, Christians, Muslims, non-believers. It's my classification, okay? My understanding that we have big four groups on earth today. All of them, they claim that they own the truth. And each group of them think from their point of view, they own the truth and they deserve to be what? Leaders. I repeat, Jews, Christians, Muslims, and non-believers. Because from the point of, I'm speaking about the believers in God and heaven. I'm not talking about what we classify as man-made religions, okay? About the heavenly religions. So Muslims and mainly non-believers. Now, this verse or this group of verses are giving us a very nice way of preparing yourself to the methodology of understanding, knowing your identity, how to reply to some doubts with regard of, do I have the right, focus with me now, do I have the right to think that someone else is wrong and I am right? You know why I'm highlighting this? We are living, especially in the West, in what so-called secular world, in what so-called liberal world. We know, especially in the area of the public, schools, all the time our kids are listening to something called, we should not be exclusive, you must be inclusive. True or false? Am I exaggerating, or this is part of the curriculum? Okay? You must accept others, which is true. But we have misapplication for this sometimes. And we have misunderstanding for these concepts. All the time, many people, they keep listening to the concept of inclusion. الشمولية. احتضان الآخر. احتواء الآخر. To be inclusive. Be careful. You have no right to be exclusive, because once someone thinks that if you say, no, this is wrong, oh, this is exclusivism, vism. They start attacking you. You have no right to think in this. Be careful. This is a hate speech. Habibi, Hadi, please calm down. What are you talking about? You must be inclusive, not exclusive. Right. I want to prove to you that this is not applicable when we speak about the area of faith. So I will highlight two common sense, or at least one common sense example. Then I'll bring another logical example before delving into my idea. Number one, in the area of politics, let me make it very clear. In the area of politics, do we have different parties or not? I will apply the concept on something we all realize. Let's speak about Canada, where we live, and the United States, the closest neighbor to us. We have here conservatives and liberals, the big two parties. True or false? Right. Our neighbors, they have Republicans and Democrats. Right. Very quickly, the main names that we know. Now, Justin Trudeau represents the liberals. Andrew Scheer, for example, because I don't know the names, but he used to be at a certain time the head of, or O'Toole. What's his first name? O'Toole? Aaron O'Toole or Andrew Scheer. Basically, for some years, they were representing what? Conservatives. Jagmeet Singh represent the NDP. Right. In the area of politics, do we have a party that leads and oppositions or not? Do the oppositions continuously work on the base that's criticizing others as doing wrong and they disagree with them or not? All the time. Actually, they have no value if they do not do it. So my point, in the area of politics, which covers 99% of our lives, we always have people claim that they believe in principles, and we always have another opposition party or parties. They keep doing what? Attacking them, saying that we disagree with them, we think they are not doing good, we believe that they don't deserve to lead us. True or false? I repeat, if you approach now a liberal person, if you ask him, do you believe in the principles of conservatives, what he would tell you? No. Definitely no. Because if I believe, I will be what? Conservative. But I'm not conservative. I'm what? Right. Is this hate speech or part of the basic human rights? I'm asking. Right. When Andrew Scheer, when Andrew Scheer says, for example, Justin Trudeau is such and such and such and such and such, does anyone dare to attack him as someone who's exclusivist? Or he is expressing something he believes in, and he's representing millions of Canadians behind him? True or false? Right. Pause. Let's go to our neighbors now. Donald Trump just recently used to represent who? Republicans. Opposite to Democrats. Obama and now Joe Biden. Do they fight 24/7 or not? Do they accuse each other with big issues or not? Is there anyone comes and say, hey, you are doing hate speech, you must stop you or put you in jail, or this is part of the normal political life? As long as none of them is using physical violence against others. As long as none of them is lying or creating fake things against others. But my point, is it true that Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, all of them, each one of them believe in a set of rules which not necessarily agreeable with others or not? Do they feel happy always to express what they believe in or not? Any problem with that? But why it's the case when a believer says, I believe that I will go to the paradise, and if the one does not do 1, 2, 3, he will not go to the paradise. Hate speech. You are what, so and so and so. I mean, this is exactly what you do in your area. Why you are depriving me from this thing? What's the difference? You tell me, what's the difference? Is there any difference? You believe in something, I believe in something. A Jew, by the way, the genuine Jewish will not be a Jewish unless if he believes that Judaism is the truth. If a Jewish person believes that Muhammad is the true, genuine prophet and messenger, do you think he will stay a Jewish person?
No.
Or will be what? A Muslim. So a Jewish person, by default, is a Jewish if he believes in Judaism. A Christian person, by default, is a Christian if he believes in Christianity. The base of Christianity, the divinity of Jesus Christ. Trinity. If I do not believe in the Redeemer, Mukhallas, Savior, who came to be crucified on the cross for my sake, I will not be what? Christian. So how come in the base of what someone claims that you must not be exclusive, you must accept, be careful. There is a big difference between respect. Big difference, I understand your private needs. But what do you mean by accept? If you mean by acceptance, to realize, to understand, to consider, yes. If you mean by acceptance, to believe in what you believe and to forsake what I have, or otherwise you will attack me as an exclusive, excuse me, this is hypocrisy. Because you do this in all of your life in other areas, and not me, all of us, not just Muslims. A Jewish is not a Jew if he does not believe in what he believes in. By default, a Jewish person believes a non-Jewish will not go to the paradise. By default, a Christian, ask any genuine Christian, if I do not believe in Jesus Christ as the Redeemer, I am gonna be enjoying the kingdom of God? I'm asking. No, because I don't believe in Jesus Christ as God's Son who was crucified on the cross for my sake. I will not be Christian. So please be careful. Why I'm putting this introduction? Because sometimes when someone keeps telling you, be careful, don't be exclusive, don't think in this way, you have no right, or otherwise this could be such and such. This is part of life and everyone is doing so. Let's agree what you are not allowed to do. And yes, will be a big problem when you move from phase of belief, thinking, faith, into action, hurting, harming others, using what we know in our words now as violence. That's why I started with politics. Now, Joe Biden or Donald Trump or Andrew Scheer or Justin Trudeau all the time criticizing each other and accusing others that they are doing a big mistake and they are not doing the good thing, which is part of life. The same thing when you build. By the way, I'm not blaming them because this is part of their genuine faith. He believes that democratic principles are the best. He believes that NDP's principles are the best. That's why Jagmeet Singh all the time is attacking this and this and others. So I'm not blaming him, by the way. I'm not saying he's doing wrong, because otherwise I'm accusing myself. Because when you believe in something, you will keep highlighting what I believe in is the truth, or otherwise. That's why one of the MMA fighters, once he's a Christian, he's an Orthodox Christian from the Roman Church. He was, in the social media, he was saying, really, I do respect Muslims. He's an Orthodox Christian. He said, if I want to reconsider leaving my religion, and I want to choose a religion from religion of earth, the only thing that I will choose it is Islam. He said, because Muslims, they are the only group of people that they fight with the general meeting, which means they don't give up easily what they believe in. He said, it's his words, he is a Christian. He said, if I put something, for example, on my t-shirt attacking Jesus Christ, and I went through, for example, such and such roads in London. It seems he's from the UK. He said, I can go through the full road and no one will stop me, even though I'm making fun of Jesus Christ. He said, but if I dare to say something about Muhammad, I will not continue the road. Then he's a Christian. He said, you know why? Because they have something to stand for. Because then he said this beautiful word. He said, if you are tolerating everything, you will stand for nothing. Everything toleration. Okay, so at the end, who you are nothing. By the way, if you tolerate everything, you will stand for nothing. You can't tolerate everything in your life. If you have to tolerate everything, this means Justin Trudeau must accept everything conservatives say. And NDPs must accept everything conservatives and liberals say. And Joe Biden must accept everything Donald Trump says. Is this reality? By the way, does this happen for a second in life? Practically, it's impossible. So that's why I started with this introduction before going to the area of religion. But why I'm saying that? Because we are in the context of about 10 verses where our God, Allah, as we believe, because by the way, when I said our God, because when you sit with a genuine, a true Jewish or a Christian, they will tell you they don't believe in the God that we believe in. Okay, by the way, no problem. And for them, we are not believers. I have no problem with that. And I'm not expecting anything apart from a Jew and a Christian will tell me that I'm an unbeliever. Yes, because I don't believe in what he believes in. If a genuine, really trustworthy Jewish came to me and he said, hey, do you believe in Judaism? I would say what? No. Then he would tell me, you are a kafir in Judaism. Yes, I'm a kafir in Judaism. So, where's the problem? Yes, I don't believe in Judaism. Where's the problem? Do we believe in Judaism? If a Jewish told you, you are a non-believer in Judaism, is there a problem for you as a Muslim? Right. If we have a genuine, trustworthy Christian, he asked me, do you believe in Jesus Christ as the Son of God who was crucified on the cross for the sake of your blood, and he shed his blood for your sake? I say, no. He will tell me, you are a non-believer in Christianity. Is this true or not? Definitely, I'm a non-believer in Christianity. Where is the problem? Why it's the case when a Muslim says, if you do not believe in Quran and Muhammad, you are an unbeliever. How come you show me? Yeah, you are an unbeliever in my religion. Where's the problem? What is the problem? Yes, you are an unbeliever. The terminology of an unbeliever in Arabic language is kafir. You are doing takfir. Ya ammi, it's not me. Every person on earth is applying takfir. Because the Democrat is a kafir in the Republicans. And the Republicans are kuffar in the Democrats. In the linguistic meaning. Which means they reject their principles. So where's the problem? There should be no problem. So please, before discussing something from one angle, be ready how to know how to defend your identity. I repeat, as long as we are speaking and discussing the area of faith. Now, look, let me, in light of this, let me read to you what Allah, what the Quran, what Islam says about what some other groups think about us in the Quran, okay? It's a matter of faith. It's either you are, by the way, faith means Allah is telling us about the unseen. And when these verses were revealed 1400 years plus ago on the Sahaba, they were not expert about this information. It was a new knowledge for them. They did not have generally speaking, apart from a very tiny small number, like Waraqa bin Nawfal or some, called Al-Hunafa, generally, Arabs, they were what? Pagans. They were idol worshippers. No knowledge, no revelation, no religion, just they know some of the remainings of the tradition of Ibrahim alayhi salam, with a lot of shirk. Where it makes, and we know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called it al-Jahiliyyah. The time of the ignorance, the Jahiliyyah, the ignorance of the pre-Islamic era. Okay? So when Allah told them these verses, Allah was giving them knowledge about something they don't know. Okay, let's read what God said. Now in English. Do you not know that the kingdom I will start from ولله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد اللي هي قول الله تعالى after ما ننسخ من آية الله سبحانه وتعالى say ألم تعلم أن الله له ملك السماوات والأرض. After the abrogation, now I will read in English. Do you not know that the kingdom of the heavens and the earth belongs only to Allah and you have no guardian or helper besides Allah? Then, now this is the translation of Mustafa Khattab. The translation of Dr. Brother Fadl Fadl Sulaiman. Oh, sorry. Still from Mustafa Khattab. Do you believers intend to ask your messenger as Moses was asked before? But whoever trades belief for disbelief has truly strayed from the right way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here, you non-believers, don't ever do like what the people of Musa asked him. We will know now what the followers of Musa in his time did ask Prophet Musa. Don't do it with Muhammad. Now, in the footnotes he say, asking to make Allah visible to them and make the angels talk to them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told, لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ Jahra. One of the things, the people of Israel, they made the troubles for Musa alayhi salam in his time. At a certain time, that group, they were insisting that we will not believe until we see God physically in our naked eyes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, you will not believe until, don't ever ask your prophet like what the children of Israel asked Musa alayhi salam. Then, okay. Now, Muhammad. Establish prayer and pay al tax, whatever good you send for yourselves, you will certainly find it a reward with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surely Allah is all seeing what you do. Now, the Jews and Christians each claim that none will enter paradise except those of their own faith. وَقَالُوا لَن يَدْخُلَ الْجَنَّةَ إِلَّا مَنْ كَانَ هُودًا أَوْ نَصَارَى. The Jews and Christians each claim that none will enter paradise except those... Sorry, I missed, I think, two verses. I'm sorry, because I'm pushing... Oh, sorry. Many of the people of the scripture would love to turn you وَدَّ كَثِيرٌ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِكُمْ كُفَّارًا. Many of the people of the scripture would love to turn you back into deniers after you have attained faith, out of envy in their inner selves, after the truth has become evident to them. So, pardon and overlook. Look, Allah is telling us about their feelings. This is something we don't know. This is part of ilm al-ghayb, the unseen. They don't know, the Sahaba did not know, and we have no idea. Allah is telling us, He say, they would love to turn you from faith into being non-believers. Okay, what's the reaction? Fa'fu wasfahu. Pardon, forget, don't do any action with them, but be aware that this is their feelings. No, you have no right. I'm not telling you about my right. I'm telling you about what I believe in. But do I have, depending on that, any right to do a physical action of any harmful thing? No. Fa'fu wasfahu. Close your eyes. Pardon. Overlook. close the file, because in the day of judgments, everyone will be held accountable for what he knows that it's the truth or not. But in terms of faith, this is your faith. Do you have the right to express your faith? Or this could be exclusivism. You must be what? Inclusive. Don't be exclusive. Be careful. Do you have a right to express your faith? Yes, everyone expresses faith. Their faith. Expressing what you believe in is something, acting upon it is something else. Be careful. You are not asked to do any action. But know this. What kind of benefit? Do it. You need to be aware of what is what and who is who. Because if you don't know on what basis you will declare your identity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because as I told you, if you accept everything, you will be nothing. Because if I accepted Jesus Christ as the Son of Lord, I will be what? I will be a Christian, so I will not be a Muslim. It's practically, I have decided to leave the fold Islam into another area. So it's unacceptable logically for anyone to keep telling you, you must accept others. This is nonsense. And no one is applying that, I challenge. No one is applying that. Does the people in Apple, Macintosh, accept that all types of mobiles and devices, they have the same features and in the best quality like them? So Apple company, they hold an attitude of hate speech. What do you think? But be aware that some people, they use this methodology when they discuss with you. So be aware how to defend your faith. Like everyone else has the right to defend his faith. Believing in something, okay, should not be categorized under, oh, you have no right, you will not be exclusive, inclusive. No, please. Please don't play this game with me, please. Okay? So let's continue. Now,
دكتور
yes.
ايش رقم الآية لو سمحت؟
شو هي؟
ايش رقم الآية؟
رقم الآية that I think 105 or 104 now. I started from 106 up to 112. So 6 verses. I think now 108 or 109. Many of the people of the scripture would love to turn you back into deniers after you have attained faith, out of envy in their inner selves after the truth has become evident to them. So, pardon and overlook until Allah brings about His command. حتى يأتي الله بأمره. You are not asked to do anything against them. Indeed, Allah is all powerful over everything. Father Sulaiman says, establish prayer and pay alms tax. Whatever good you send forth for yourselves, you will certainly find it reward with Allah. Surely Allah is all saying of what you do. Now, 109. Okay, Jazakallah khair. It was Mustafa Khattab, not Father Sulaiman. Now continues. The Jews and Christians, the other one now, each claim that none will enter paradise except those of their own faith. Is this something new for us? Is it a big surprise, or it's a by default part of the definition of a faith? But Allah is telling us that, Allah is stating, and by the way, as an expert in comparative religions, if this is a session of comparative religions, I can bring you tens of texts from their textbooks that they believe that none will be saved except the one who believes, which is common sense. I'm not against them, because I have the same thing. Because I have the same, like, one of the discussions I used to have to some of Christian missionary groups in the UK when I was doing my, they used sometimes to challenge me, some British missionary priests. They were my colleagues doing PhD like with me. So they had a discussion. They say, hey, do you allow us as Christian missionaries to do missionary in your country? They said, look at you. As a Muslim, you come to our countries and you preach to us what? Islam. No one stops you. Is that true or not? By the way, are we able to preach Islam and to do missionary group in the West or not? We Muslims.
Yes.
Yes. So this, my colleague, was in a certain discussion, he was saying, because by the way, many Arab countries, by law, you are not allowed to do any Christian missionary, job on their lands, by law. So including my country. So they were asking me, making as if they want to make fun. I say, look, just compare between your country and our country. You Muslims are taking full freedom to do missionary group. But we, Christian missionary, we are not allowed to do this in your country. I said, excuse me. If I'm the Minister of Religious Affairs, by God, I will allow you to do missionary group. But come as a Christian priest, don't come as a nurse and a doctor. Don't hide your identity, because I do not hide my identity. When I call for Islam, I do not go to the poor, needy people as a doctor, and I don't tell anyone about my religious identity, and they are desperate in need. I come and tell them, look, I will give you food if you accepted Muhammad. If you do not accept Muhammad, I will not give you food. When I do this, I will be hypocrite. I said, come to me not as a doctor, not as a medical aid. Don't come to me as whatever aid, family aid, nursery groups, something. And when you see people who came out of war, desperate, need food, water, you take them to the corner and they are dying. You tell them, Jesus Christ loves you, take it with the bread. He will accept Jesus Christ because he will accept Satan himself. Wallah, he will worship for Satan because he's dying. I said, come to me like I am exposed completely to you. Wallah, I will respect you. You know what I mean? Got my point? So sometimes, superficially, anyone who was watching this, wow, yes, we allow you, you don't allow us. Don't compare two incomparable things. And it happened. And it happened, by the way. It happened with Ahmed Deedat as well. You heard about Ahmed Deedat. A story was told by Sheikh Abdullah Nasif, the head of the Islamic League, Rabitat al-Alam al-Islami. This story happened about 40 years ago with John Paul II, if I'm not mistaken, the Pope of the Vatican, about 35 or 40 years, more or less. Forgive me if I missed the exact, but definitely more than 30 years. Because I heard the story from Ahmed Deedat, rahimahullah, about 30 years ago. And he was talking about something happening before that. Jazakallah khair for the coffee. To make it short, Ahmed Deedat was invited by the Vatican for, this kind of religious discussion, faith group discussion, this kind of closeness, filling the gaps between Christians and Muslims and Jews, this kind of interfaith, conferences. So he was invited, Ahmed Deedat, sorry, I made a mistake. Sheikh Abdullah Nasif, I mixed the two persons. Abdullah Nasif told Ahmed Deedat. Ahmed Deedat was narrating the story, okay? The story happened with Abdullah Nasif. Abdullah Nasif was the head of the Muslim League, the Muslim World League, Rabitat al-Alam al-Islami, okay? About 30, 40 years ago. Abdullah Nasif, as the head of one of the biggest Islamic leagues, he was invited by the Pope of the Vatican to have a discussion and meeting. Now, Abdullah Nasif is narrating to Ahmed Deedat what happened with him. He said, I was invited, so as a good intention, I did not refuse at all, so I went there. He said, unfortunately, they kept me for about 30 minutes waiting in a room alone, and I said, maybe something happened with the Pope, no problem. From a diplomatic point of view, this is unacceptable. To bring someone, you invited him in this high rank level, to keep him for half an hour in a room alone. No one comes. He said, but this happened with me. I did not know why. He said, then a secretary came. He asked me to go to another room for another half an hour. Alone, no one came to me. So twice, half an hour alone. In the diplomatic say customs, this is, there's a big question mark. Anyway, he said after waiting twice, each time in a room alone for 30 minutes, third time, they asked me to move to a third place. When I went there immediately, Pope himself came in his face, and his first question immediately, not even, he said, Assalamu alaikum, not even hi, not even sorry for being late. Immediately, I was attacked by a question. The question was, he's from Saudi Arabia. Abdullah Nasif from Jeddah. Ambassador, he's a Saudi, an Arab Muslim. He was attacked. He said, why you do not allow us to build churches in Saudi Arabia? If someone asks you this question, really you will feel, yes, because they allow us to build churches. It's, by the way, superficially, for the first moment, it's a valid argument. Let me see. Allah, yes. Look how wicked we are. Hasbi Allah alayna nahnu muslimin. Hasbi Allah. This is what will come to your mind. But look what he replied. Now, pause. I will add from me now. Don't forget that Saudi is a religious state. Europe in general and the West, they are secular states. What is the only religious state in the West? Vatican. He immediately replied to him, do you allow us to build masajid in the Vatican? The discussion ended. The question should not be, because by the way, a part of Saudi Arabia, all other Arab countries are secular. All of them, they are full of churches by hundreds and thousands. Where's the problem? Go to Egypt, come to Jordan, go to Syria. We have churches with 600, 700, 800 years. No, we have no problem. So where's the problem? But when someone attacks Saudi Arabia, Habibi, compare Saudi Arabia with the comparable to Saudi Arabia. What is the comparable to Saudi Arabia? Vatican, not Europe. Saudi religious state, Vatican religious state. Now, this is an ethical common sense. Yes, if you think I'm doing bad thing in Saudi Arabia by not allowing churches, do you allow masajid in the Vatican? Definitely no. So please close the file. Don't waste your time and my time. Alas. And by the way, I don't blame you if you do not allow me to build a masjid inside the Vatican, because your faith tells you you have to keep your religious place in such and such way. I don't blame you. I'm not fighting you. But don't use this argument against me. Got my point? So when we read these things, it's an idea. Alhamdulillah, it's very clear in the Quran. Fa'fu wasfahu. No, be aware that this is what they think about you. Be aware that this is what they believe. I don't blame you. He thinks that I'm not a believer. Ya Ammi, thank you. On my head. You know, on my head? I have no problem if you think I'm an unbeliever. Yes, I'm an unbeliever. Uqsim billah. I'm an unbeliever in Buddhism. Uqsim billah. I'm an unbeliever in Hinduism. Uqsim billah. I'm an unbeliever in Judaism. Uqsim billah. I'm an unbeliever in Christianity. Call me a kafir in your religions. I have no problem. But why it becomes a problem when it's in the other way around? Are you with me? So please be aware when you understand it, put things in the larger context always. Don't accept anyone to do this kind of quick brainwashing or attack you. Do you know? Yes, okay, do you know? Yes, I have no problem. Compare the alike with the alike. Don't mix these things in this way. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continues in the Quran. Jews and Christians, each of them claim none will enter paradise except those of their own faith. These are their desires. Reply, O Prophet, show me your proof if what you say is true. This is Mustafa Khattab. Now, Father Sulaiman translates, and they said, none will enter the garden of paradise unless he has been a Jew or a Christian. These are their fancies. Say, O Prophet, produce your proof if you are truthful. But no. Now, Allah is teaching us how to reply to this argument. The Quran tells us that others think that none will get into paradise except themselves. And by the way, each one of them thinks he is the only one in the paradise. And I have the same thing, by the way. Jews, they believe they are the only people of the paradise. Christians, they believe that, and as Muslims, we believe we are the only one. Yani, who is true? Okay, I will not interfere in your business. This is what I believe in. As you believe, and from your point of view. يوم القيامة Allah يفصل بيننا. The idea is, which, by the way, this is a high ethical approach, by the way. It's not that suitable time to explain to you what used to happen in the history in other religions against themselves. In Islam, it's haram. Haram to force someone, لا إكراها في الدين. There is no compulsion in religion. We have no right to force anyone, even if we have the power, political power. No compulsion in religion. It's haram. We have no right. But you keep telling him with proof. I believe in such and such because. Further, can you prove? Someone say, anyone can claim. I know that anyone can claim. By the way, pause this, freeze everything. Let's go to our normal day life. In theory, can anyone claim anything, true or false? But can everyone who claims something prove it to himself? Yani, let's go back to Mr. Fir'aun. You know Fir'aun? You know Mr. Fir'aun? Yeah. He claimed that he is ربكم الأعلى. Now, God by default, Rabb by default is the creator. Does Fir'aun know that he does not create or not? Can Fir'aun prove to himself that he is a creator? Or he knows for sure that he is not a creator? But he claims. Yani I say always, I used to say to my students, Fir'aun needs no more than going to the washroom to know that he is not God. Wallahi. By the way, it's a Quranic teaching, by the way, what I'm saying. You know what a Quranic teaching? If you are a God, reshape, let yourself be in that you don't need to eat food or to drink, so that you don't need to go to the washroom. By the way, if it's up to us, if you have the power to stop your body from being in need to the washroom, anyone on earth will not do it? يلا تفضل, who can do it? You can't. You are subjugated to, you are abd, you are makhluq. The Khaliq created you and me in a way we can't live without oxygen, we can't live without food, we can't live, we have defects. This is makhluk. This is created apart from the Khaliq who is perfect. The fact that I need in itself, this is the other side of the coin of as-samad. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد. You know what does it mean? الصمد قال القائم بذاته. As-samad means the one who is able to stand by himself, does not need anyone or anything else. Who of us can stand by himself 24/7? Can you live without oxygen? خلاص. Defects. Without food? Without your mother breastfeeding when you are born? You can't. So you are in need. Need means you are weak, you have defect points, you are makhluk. Period. Close the file. So Fir'aun knows that he is just a human being, but he used to claim. Can he prove it? No. Can he says in the day of judgment in front of Allah, standing before his Lord, Ya Fir'aun, why did you say such and such? Wallahi ya Allah, I thought I'm God. Well, how did you thought? Well, to the best of my knowledge. Can he claim this? No. So let everyone bring his proof. Further, can you defend it? By the way, let me give you just another pause. Freeze everything. Let's go to another area of how to think. We Muslims, in our faith, forget other faiths now. When we have Islamic rulings, teachings, which go in parallel with fitrah, the inner nature, such as, for example, don't do any kind, I'm addressing males now, brothers. You know, sexual harassment is haram. صح? By any means. I'm not talking about the Western rulings or the Canadian American, I'm talking Islam. What is the ruling of someone to do any kind of harassment or sexual harassment? It's what? It's a major sin, haram. طيب. Now, do you need, as a male Muslim, a proof from Islam to tell you it's bad and wrong? Or you can prove it by your fitrah? If you are just a normal person, if you have no knowledge, and someone said a bad word to your sister or your mother, what will happen to you? By default, what will happen to you? You become mad. True or false? This is the inner nature by default reaction that this is bad. So if you did something, if you attacked or raped or harassed a woman, can you stand in the day of judgment? Ya Allah, I thought it's permissible. If you thought it's permissible, why you were about to kill your sister when you discovered that she's hanging around or going at night with a stranger? Why? Why? No one asked you to do it. Why did you do it? Why you became mad? Because you realize, because you understand, because you know. When we ask you, don't look at the windows of the people if they forgot their curtains open. ولا تجسسوا, okay? Don't look to the privacy of the people. يا عمي ما فيها شيء. What will happen to you if someone was looking at your house? If your younger brother opened the curtains at night and no one paid attention, your mother, your sisters, your daughters, all of them, they are not wearing the hijab and everyone in the street was losing at them. What will happen to you? What will happen to you? You became mad. You will not be able to sleep for 1 week. You can't, because you know this is wrong. So don't say, well, I was looking, it's not my fault. Their kid opened the curtains, so it's the qadr of Allah to look. Can you claim this? Can you use this as a proof? You can't. You can't stand before your Lord and say, Wallahi, Ya Allah, I believe in qadr. And Ya Allah, you did taqdeer for me that this curtain was opened. So I thought, Ya Allah, let's look because this is your wish. Can you say this? Because if someone else did it to you, he was looking at your sister, and you can tell him, hey, why you were looking? He said, I thought it's the qadr of Allah. You will not continue his words. You will break his teeth. صح? صح ولا لا? So I'm just giving you an idea about the concept of قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ. We know. Do you have a proof? Do you feel fully satisfied when you stand before Allah about what you did? Allah told you, don't associate anyone with me. I will be very angry from you. Even in Islam, some groups, some religious groups, they do the istighatha bil amwat, you know? Some, I don't generalize. Some, I repeat, some Sufi groups, they commit some kind of kufr actions. I'm not saying Sufi are kuffar, be careful. I'm saying some Sufi groups in the Arab world, they do some kufr actions by doing what we say istighatha. They are seeking the help from a dead body, this kind of wali who is dead 400 years ago, asking him, Ya Sidi, Ya Wali, please help my wife with giving birth and I want a male, I don't want a female. This is shirk. This is kufr. Anyway, so this is wrong inside and outside. But the point, many things, we don't need the full philosophical sharia to explain to us that right and wrong. But however, sharia comes to fulfill and to go in parallel with our fitrah. Okay? That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught burhanakum. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us ما المسيح ابن مريم إلا رسول قد خلت من قبله الرسل وأمه صديقة كان يأكلان الطعام انظر ثم انظر أن يؤفكون. Allah was discussing with them, arguing, teaching Muhammad ﷺ, say Jesus Christ was just a prophet and messenger like others, and his mother was Siddiqah, high, trusty, like a sense. Both of them, they used to eat food. This is the rhetorical Quranic style of language to tell you that they used to go to washroom. Eat food means washroom. This is the common sense argument to tell you about the proof that you depend on. This is why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قل هاتوا برهانكم, it's like this, because your mind is thinking. You know, you feel, you are aware. So you will be held accountable. Okay? This is the idea. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after He highlighted their feelings, their intentions, their whatever, قال اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. But no, بلى من أسلم وجهه لله. But no, whoever submits themselves to Allah and does good will have their reward with their Lord, and there will be no fear for them, nor will they grieve. This is Mustafa Khattab. Father Sulaiman says, yes indeed, whoever submits his face in worship to Allah while excelling in doing good, then he has his reward with his Lord, and no fear shall be upon them, nor shall they grieve. بَلَا مَنْ أَسْلَمَ وَجْهَهُ لِلَّهِ وَهُوَ muhsin. So the criteria for us, for the one who is accepted, is the one who submitted himself to the will of his Lord in his time. But the will of the Lord, as you know, we told you, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam قال مبشرا برسول يأتي من بعد اسمه أحمد. And by the way, this is nothing new. We know about the prophets of the children of Israel. They received tens and tens and tens of prophets, messengers. So they were aware that after Musa alayhi salam, a series of prophets and messengers. So the idea of prophet number one will be, he is preceded by someone, and a latter one will come after him. So they know that it's not something new to their culture that a new prophet or messenger will come, because they lived for hundreds of years with this concept. So what's the new? What's the new? Nothing. Are you with me? So this, by the way, the whole idea now, because next time, inshallah, we will start with a completely new concept. The new concept basically is قول الله تعالى اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Now, the new concept is ومن أظلم ممن منع مساجد الله أن يذكر فيها اسمه. Now we will start completely a new phase with a new concept. By this point, put it in the larger, big concepts. Go to, if you remember, the very beginning of chapter AlBaqarah. But just the close concepts, واتبعوا ما تتلو الشياطين وكانوا من قبل يستفتحون على الذين كفروا فلما جاءهم ما عرفوا. Well, in this context, ود كثير من أهل الكتاب ما يود الذين من أهل الكتاب وقالت اليهود والنصارى وقالت اليهود والنصارى وقالوا لن يدخل الجنة إلا من كان هودا أو نصارى. This is the big concept. It's like a mosaic, big picture about what Allah is telling us about what they have in their books and their faith. Now, what benefits can I get? One of the basic benefits, when you discuss with them, you have an idea about what to tell them. Because it's part of your duty, out of mercy and out of love, to discuss and argue, because it's our duty. By the way, Christians are missionaries and we are missionaries. يعني هم يقومون بالتبشير ونحن نقوم بالتبشير. Both. And let the strongest arguments be established. Okay, I have no problem at all with hundreds of Christian missionaries to keep telling me about their faith. But please let me speak when you finish. And you can see in the social media now what happens. Anyway, for today, I have finished, inshallah, bi'idhnillah. If you have questions, please ask. If you don't have questions, we will stop. We have about, inshallah, less than 15 minutes to Salat al-Isha بإذن الله عز وجل. تفضل. I will repeat her question.
Okay. The idea is, if there's a Christian, a Jew right now at this time who did not know about Islam, how, for some reason they didn't know, whether they're not aware of Islam is, or how do you deal with them? I mean, and I know this is a bigger debate.
Very good question. Big debate. She's asking me the following question. Very common question. The question is, if a Jew or Christian does not know anything about Islam, how do we deal with them? Basically, I do not judge them in terms of their final destination. This is number one. I don't say you are in hellfire. We don't know the final destination for a specific person because we don't know the ghaib. This is number one. Okay? However, anyone, not just a Jew or a Christian, anyone on earth, if he does not accept clearly, knowingly, Islam and Muhammad and Quran, he is not a Muslim in our teachings and rulings. Right. The most important thing in this question, not my description to him, not my thoughts. In reality, is he, she going to be punished or tortured because he did not accept Islam? This is the big question. Let me tell you the following. The general rule that controls this area, please fix it in your mind. Allah is justice. I repeat. What's the general rule? Allah is justice. Anyone, I'm not discussing Judaism and Christianity now. Buddhists, Hindu, agnostic, skeptic, multheistic, mesotheistic, okay? Atheist, any one of those people, Jews, Christians, atheist, non-believer, rejecter, agnostic, just name them. Any one of those, if he, she does not know Islam, he will not be accountable why he did not become a Muslim. Clear? Fine. What will happen to him? The general rule, Allah is justice. What does this mean practically? This means one of the following. Allah will hold him accountable for what he knows. But what does he know? I don't know. But he knows, and Allah knows what he knows. So if he knows, she knows, they know, and I thought that they don't know, does that mean that they will not be held accountable? The core point, it's my duty to tell them, if you know, you will face a problem. Okay, but they don't know. No one knows who knows and who doesn't know. You just spread the knowledge because you don't know, or otherwise, you tell me. How can we have those thousands of rivers? How they become rivers? You tell me. Because they were thinking. They were feelings. Jeffrey Lang, this high professor in mathematics, why he became a Muslim? For example, Gary Miller, the Canadian priest, Murad Hoffman, the German ambassador in Morocco, and you have tens and hundreds and thousands of examples. Because if you say, no, they don't know, I mean, how come you know that they don't know? I mean, I don't know who and which one of them knows or does not know. I'm just telling you the general rule. Allah is justice. Anyone who does not know will not be punished. So what will happen to him? Allah will deal with him according to what he knows. Now, what is the thing that he knows? I don't know. Simply, do you think you or me, وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, God forbid, we have mercy more than Allah? Do you think this? Do you think? Because some people, some tough secular Arabs, they keep arguing with us as if they have mercy more than Allah Himself, you the people. And how come? And it happened with me, by the way. It happened with me. Wallahi, I remember, literally. And by the way, do you know for how many years I'm teaching? I'm teaching since 1985. So I'm teaching since 37 years or 38 years. Teaching. So in 1989, I was a teacher in a private school. 89. Or 33 years ago, more or less. I once came to the class, high school. the boys and girls came to me, Ustad, I was the religious, the teacher of Islamic education at that time. Ustad, it's like what? Seriously, wallahi, they were physically fighting. Before I just approaching the class, literally they were fighting. You know what was the fight about? The people of Eskimo and the people of the Amazon. Are they going to the hellfire or to the Jannah? Or you say, Ustad, people of Eskimo, they don't know Islam. Are they going to? You're fighting as if they have part of Ilm al-Ghaib. They know for sure that all the people of Eskimo, they will go to hellfire, and they are fighting. And now, surprisingly to tell you, many of them, they don't pray. Those who were fighting. And I know some of them, they were very tough and bad and making a major sins in their life, such as being so rude with their parents and their teacher. And I know their parents, they were complaining to me. So some of them, they were not wearing the hijab. Some of them, they don't pray. And some of them, they do a lot of sin. And he is killing himself about to fight with Allah. Why? There is a possibility the people of Eskimo will go to the hellfire. Who told you on earth, told you that they will go to the hellfire? You know what happens? Some people, they assume something. This assumption that they have created by themselves, they bring it and they use it as an evidence. This is a false way of thinking. You got my point? It's fighting. I said, SubhanAllah. Now you are killing yourself for people of Eskimo. You are much more merciful than Allah. Please take care of yourself. Please go and pray and take care of yourself. Be kind with your parents. Don't make lies. Don't watch porno sites or porno magazines at that time. No sites, okay? And something, please just take care. Don't worry that Allah will forget them and will send them to the hellfire by mistake. Don't forget about this. Please. Don't think about this. Allah is much more merciful than you and me. Because unfortunately, some people think, but the idea, the points, your question, if they know, they will face a big trouble. If they don't know, Allah will hold them accountable for what they know. And Allah knows what they know. Okay, go ahead. Still we have 7 minutes. إذا أبو شريف بيسمح لي.
لا تفضل احنا يعني مع
هذا 7 minutes. Okay.
So the other consequence or another trend that's happening is that people are saying, okay, we know God, we believe in God, but we don't want to accept any religions or follow any religions, and I guess this is a big conversation, but how do we do it?
The people who think like this,
Yes.
they are called deists, ar-rububiyyun. Now, let me just very, very, very quickly give you some of the definitions. We have atheism. Atheism is the one who denies the existence of God. We have deism, from the word deity, ilah. Now, or Rabb. Deism or deist is the one who believes in the existence of Allah, but he believes that this God created, then he disconnected himself from the world. He did not send prophets, messengers, or books or sacred books. Just created and left. And the universe is run by itself, even though there's a God. As if this deist is claiming by himself that this God has no wisdom, no future strategic planning. He decided to create, even though he has this mighty power to create, but for some reason, they decided that this God decided to disconnect himself from this universe after he created everything. It's so strange, so weird, so funny, but this is how they accuse Allah. This is called deism, which is kufr. Definitely. Okay? So basically, just to make sure, this is what you are asking about.
I'm asking about, they accept that there's a God, but they don't want to follow any religion. So they're like, this is just so tiring, and I'll just accept that there's a creator and Allah is out there. He exists, but I'm not following any religion.
Right. Anna, in theory, she's asking if this category exists, what will happen to them in the day of judgment? For sure, I don't know, but I can tell you the following. To the best of my knowledge, Allah will establish the argument against them by His own way. يعني I will imagine myself, I myself, that I'm a deist or agnostic or an atheist, living my life, believing that there's nothing wrong, nothing bad, nothing, everything. Okay, at a certain point, I'm trying to follow some kind of good way of life. So I'm thinking, when I want to decide to follow a good style of life, what do? I do shopping. By the way, when you want to have insurance for your car or your house, or you want to travel or buy a ticket, everyone tells you to do what? Shop around. Go and what? Look. Compare. When you buy from the marketplace, do you open Facebook? The first image comes, you buy and go and have it and that's it? You keep doing what? Research, compare, asking, analyzing, comparing, thinking, consulting, keeping, arguing to find the best from your point of view. If I do this for a t-shirt, if I do this for a blue jeans, if I do this for a bike, if I do this just to have a nice food for lunch, sometimes I keep watching, as a normal person, watching the reviews of 10, 15, 20 restaurants just to have a nice restaurant food. I spend sometimes days. Hey, did you try it? What do you think? Subhanallah, when it comes to a religion, complete style of life, faith, feelings, need, problems, big, spaces in my life, I feel by the simply, how can I know? And without paying any efforts. Is this acceptable? Do you buy a car without shopping around? On what base? Imagine, billah alaykum. I don't have a time. And to be honest with you, I'm afraid from Abu Sharif. Okay? Just joking, Abu Sharif. حبيبي أنا بمزح معك أنا بس. حبيبي لا أنا والله بمزح معك. طبعا العميد أعرفكم على الباشا أبو شريف. حبيبنا أبو شريف. We have many evidences about this, about the feelings, about the فطرة. أم خلقوا من غير شيء أم هم الخالقون. Allah is asking them, when you sit with your whole self. What do you think? Do you accept that something happens without a cause? The law of the cause and the effect or the influence. قانون السبب والسببية. If you lost your wallet, do you accept that this happened by coincidence? You lost your wallet. Your car disappeared from the front of your house and it costed you $100,000. If you are an atheist, do you accept that the law of nature coincidentally caused your car to disappear? I'm asking, wallahi, do you accept it as an atheist? Even though you claim that this universe came by the law of coincidence. But your car disappeared. You say, Habibi, should disappear. There's a thief. And the police that I pay their salaries from the tax must bring my car to me. Oh, so you believe that someone has done it. طبعا شوف شايفني مجنون? Do you think I'm a crazy? No, أعوذ بالله, you are not a crazy. Definitely you are not a crazy. But why, when I tell you that there is a God and creator for the universe? No. The law of coincidence. طيب حبيبي, your certificate of your graduation disappeared by the law of coincidence. Your money disappeared from the bank account by the law of coincidence. And your car disappeared by the law of coincidence. And everything in your life, no, you don't accept it. So this is the idea. So Allah will establish the arguments against them. حتى بس ذكريني بالآية تحافظ صح؟ تبعت حتى إذا تبعت الفلك دعوا الله مخلصين لأنجام بدايتها. حتى إذا ركبوا في الفلك بدايتها مين يذكرني فيها بسرعة؟ لا بداية الآية. جرينا بهم ريحا طيبة. حد يذكرني بسرعة نختم فيها. أنا بالحفظ سلامتكم. فإذا الله يجزيك الخير. فإذا ركبوا في الفلك دعوا الله. لا، فإذا ركبوا في الفلك قبل جاءتها أبو عمر ذكرني تبع جاءتها ريح عاصف دعوا الله مخلصين له الدين لأن جانا من هذه بدايتها ايش؟ فإذا ركبوا في الفلك
العنكبوت.
بدي قضية دعوا الله مخلصين حتى إذا هم يشركون.
فإذا ركبوا في الفلك
أيوة، حتى إذا كنتم حتى إذا كنتم في الفلك وجرين بهم بريح جاءهم الموج من كل مكان. طبعا they are disbelievers. Allah is describing the psychological reaction of the disbelievers. They deny God's right upon them. They deny God's existence. But when they face these big waves in the sea, جاءتها ريح عاصف وجاءهم الموج. You know, the waves are around them from everywhere, which means they are as if they are witnessing death comes in minutes now. قال دعوا الله مخلصين له الدين لأن جعلنا من هذه لنكونن من الشاكرين. Oh Allah, if you saved us from this, we will thank you. فلما أنجاهم إلى البر إذا هم يشركون. Once they return back safely, they forgot everything. They go to drink and do everything and forget who's Allah something. Which means they realize. They feel, they know. Wallahu a'lam. جزاكم الله خير. See you next week inshallah. السلام عليكم.
أقول لك كمان في الجهة دكتور.